welcome you to our grand finale of the pandemic, the light therein. So thank you, everyone. We're gonna start with gallery 3, right? And then we're gonna go to gallery 2, and then gallery 1 is gonna be. We'll have enough time to get everybody to make their comments and remarks about their art. And we're gonna do a full walkthrough of each of the galleries. And hi, Elena. All right, so we're gonna get started. Artists in this grand finale exhibition. And like I mentioned, we're gonna start. So Areej, we're gonna start with you and you're in gallery 3. So I'm going to, first of all, click on gallery 3. So please tell us, you know, what your homeland is, where you're living in the US. I know you're in the US. And just a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into the artwork.
Absolutely. My name is Areej Alqaysi. I'm Iraqi by birth. I lived in most of my life in Jordan. I came from a country and a region full of history, culture. I'm honored to be a student of many painters and artists of different nationalities, different backgrounds. That's how I got to learn so many skills. And I've been living in the States since 2017. And my passion, I worked in different fields from art. It's something relevant to humanitarian support. But during this time, I haven't forgotten my passion, which is to be an artist. And I feel really in love of everything is relevant to painting and oil colors. I use this time to enhance these skills and to focus more on what's the positivity out of the pandemic we are through. It's been 6 months now, and we started to see things differently really from the past time. So my intention from my art is to capture the moments, to capture the beauty of the moments, the details. If it is in colors, if it is in topic, if it is in a moment, that's how I see things through art. I will keep doing it this way. I love everything that is relevant to moments, like the 3 paintings you see here, the hydrangea, the cherry blossom, and the birds. It's just real moments I've seen, real moments I've experienced, and it was in a very unique time and in a very solidarity, which is during the pandemic, during the time where people still feel in danger and fear, and they feel almost lost. The cherry blossom and the hydrangea flowers, I captured these moments while I was walking every day around my house. And I said, oh, this is symbol of life. Finally, I'm finding something that is different from what I'm hearing in the news. We could see the fear in the eyes of our families, friends. I didn't want to hear anymore. So I decided to focus more on something that brings life, brings hope, brings light to our realities. And that's mainly my intention with these 3 paintings.
And are the hydrangea, have a garden where you have these flowers? Or
I do. Yes, I do. It's outside our house. We still have it there. It's just I love the combination of colors, and also the shaping of it. It's like they come together, like they are there together. So like what we are doing now, we are together.
Okay.
So we kept together in tough times, during tough times.
Mm-hmm. And these are all oil paintings?
Yes, they are.
All right. So do you find painting in oil more successful, or more, you feel better with oil? Some artists choose different media.
Absolutely. Yeah.
With the oil.
With oil colors, I could make up like zillion colors. Like from 3 colors, I could come up with a palette full of colors. That's what I like about oil. You could get the grades, the levels of the color with minimum things. So like even to do big paintings or big works, you could come up with different colors, and it gives you the space to be creative. I did things in acrylic, but I found oil is more classy, more, I don't know, you could play with it. You could get something out of it.
All right. Well, thank you, Areej. I'm going to unmute everyone, or anyone has a question for Areej, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Yes.
Yeah. I don't have a question, but I absolutely love this painting. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I love how you give each other encouragement and positive feedback, or good critique. So John, is John on the line?
John Deitz?
Yes, John Deitz.
Here. Hey.
John.
Evening all.
All right. So let me click on your art on your page that we set up, and can you give us a little tiny background about yourself, like where your homeland is and where you're actually doing your artwork now? I have you here as Pennsylvania, and just a little bit about your artwork.
Absolutely. Well, I'm stationed in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and the area is primarily known for its work and production in landscape painting, and I do some landscape painting, but I find myself working in different media depending upon what I wish to express. So what we're seeing here are some works that are done usually early in the morning when my head is halfway between a dream state and the real world, in which case I find myself drawn to mainly doing work on the iPad because of its ability to work over long periods of time. These works take a lot of time, particularly the one that we're looking at here on the right side.
Okay.
It's every bit as much and more than what I put into an oil painting typically.
Okay.
And it's the freedom and the ability to work in layers and to basically express a fractal connection between the different layers that I'm working on. So I particularly like it early in the morning to do surrealism and abstraction. So that's mainly what we're looking at here. And later in the day, I'll switch. So I spend every day, all day, painting and drawing, essentially.
Okay, now
in one medium or another.
Let me find your work in the gallery, right? This gallery, with the eyeballs, I believe. Yeah, here you are. This one here. Oops, what happened? There we go. So can you talk a little bit about this? It's called, the media is a digital painting on metal with plastic sculpture. Can you talk about this piece?
Yeah, this piece is kind of from the heart about our identity during the COVID times, with a part of our face that is really instrumental in expressing ourselves is no longer presented to the public. And at the same time, we have this angst building up, and that's the idea behind the eyeballs. All of that is in 3 dimensions. It's in thermoplastic that I've formed into different shapes. And in some of my works, not these pieces in particular, or not this piece in particular, but some of my works have small plastic parts that the the viewer is able to move around on the piece, but with some restrictions to where they can place them so that they find the spots that express what I intend to have expressed through the piece.
Okay.
So in this case, they're nailed, or they're glued down and fastened down with different types of fasteners onto a painting that I did on the iPad, and then printed on metal. I find that the metal surface, I can use different types of metal surfaces, but the dynamic range in printing in metal is significantly higher than what I can do in oil paint. That is, the range between lights and darks is significantly longer than what oil painting or any other the typical older media presents you with. You can't get as saturated a color base.
Now, how do you mold your plastic sculpture? Do you do it by hand?
It's by hand. It's by hand. Yeah, it's working with the hot plastic by hand, and I take some tools to it. I have torches that I take to it. Even just heating irons. It's malleable at about 160 or 180 degrees, I think it is. 180 degrees.
So you have to wear heavy gloves, of course.
Well, at times I do, but if you're handling small amounts of it, because it doesn't stick to your fingers, so you can get away with picking up a piece of plastic at 170 or 180 degrees.
Wow. Okay.
So, I mean, it's uncomfortable, and you don't do it all the time, but I have not burned myself significantly, no.
Not significantly. That's good to hear. All right. So the other piece is in the other gallery, which is in gallery 1. So maybe we'll actually, being that I have you on here now, which is this piece here, right?
Right.
And you said that you spend even more time with like fractal ideas. And is this an oil painting, or let's look and see what this is.
All right.
Set up. Okay, it's a digital painting again on metal. Okay, okay.
Okay, so this is you can notice a certain amount of fractal content to it. And that's where you get that waviness to it. Even if I'm working in oil, let's say, I'll do at least 4 paintings over top of the initial painting, and I'm always hunting for the ambiguity and yet contain a certain amount of reference, self-referential, from one layer to the next. And that's what we're looking at here. It's a little bit more dramatic when you work with something like the iPad, because I can actually take one layer and repeat it with slight variations, 13 or 14 or 15 different layers that you stack up together. And that adds a dimension to it. You notice that this piece has a lot of apparent dimension or depth to it.
Now, you titled this piece "Past the Pain Now." Now,
yeah.
Now, red is usually connected with blood, especially this particular red. There's a lot of blood color, but you have it past the pain. Can you talk about how you titled this piece?
Yeah, I was working in the hospital as a patient as I was healing.
Oh.
And it helped me to heal, and the pain is receding at this point. But, you know, the same kind of angst returns in these COVID times. So that's where I felt a certain amount of relevance to today's situation and today's meeting here.
Wow.
So.
Okay, well, thank you, John. Does anybody have a question for John? You can feel free to unmute yourself and ask him a question.
John?
Yes.
This is Shireen. You said that you work with plastic. What kind of plastic do you work with?
It's a thermoplastic that is plastic at like 180 degrees. You put it in water typically. You can heat it with just about any source, but it's most convenient to heat it in water. And you can put dyes in it, which is typically what I do, or in some limited circumstances, you can paint on the surface. I prefer to dye it and then work in layers, and it becomes more skin-like. So if you just were to check out and search for thermal plastics, it's sold in beads, and you can pour it into hot circumstance, hot water or whatever, and make it malleable. Interestingly, you can, an infinite number of times, you can reheat it and remold it.
Nice. Does it come in colors, or is it just you add your own pigment to it?
I typically add my own because when you get it, it's white, and it will dry white or rather harden white. But while you're heating it, it's translucent.
Okay.
It's clear when you're working with it.
Okay.
And you can, in the final product, when you handle it in certain ways, you can keep that translucency, and that's what looks like skin. It appears as skin to me and has that certain amount of ability to see into it a short distance. You can see veins and structure beneath the surface.
Thank you. All right.
If this piece,
okay.
if I hold this close, you can see the structure in the veins or in the eye down here.
Yeah. Wow. So did you paint the pupils and the irises and so forth on the plastic itself with some paint?
I paint over the irises. The eyeballs are eyeballs designed for mannequins and dolls.
Okay.
So I start with that as a base, and then I can heat that and make it become part of the rest of the plastic work. And then I paint the vessels in the eyes and so forth, the veins that are popping out and so forth.
I have one more question.
Yes.
John, do you have to buy this plastic, or do you can you use any recycled plastic for this material that you use?
Well, many of the plastics that we use every day are actually thermal plastics, but they have different properties. This stuff is meant to be used as an art form.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks for sharing with us. Really appreciate your artistry and sharing your you know, the implements that you use in your process. I think it's really good that you have something. It's not typical. It's very unique. So thank you for that.
Well, you know, each medium that I run across, I think it has its own voice. There are certain things that beg to be done with certain media. And that's what I find in this, particularly the plastic work or the iPad for the surrealism.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we're going to move along to Shina's gallery. Is Shina online with us? Shina? No. Okay, Grace, I know Grace is here. Grace?
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Grace.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I am very happy to be a part of this group of artists. I am very, very happy.
Great, thank you. Grace, can you, while I find your pieces here, oh, and congratulations about the sale of your artwork.
Thank you. I currently live in Cincinnati, Ohio. Excuse me. And I am so jealous of the artists that get to paint full time. I'm actually a environmental safety specialist for the city of Cincinnati. So sometimes my paint time might come at 2 o'clock in the morning if I have the urge of come up with an idea and I want to finish something or I want to change something, but I am definitely looking forward to the day where I can paint full time.
Wow, wow. Can you tell us about Contemplating, which is the piece that you sold?
Contemplating it's a young boy who his life has been hard. He's had to work hard to help his parents take care of the family, and just thinking that is my life always going to be like this, or are things going to change within the next year or next 5 or 10 years? Just really contemplating about his life.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And how about the one next to it, which is this one here, All That I Am?
That painting is about women wear a lot of different hats. And so I painted that just thinking of all of the things that women are, like the signals that are on the little insignias that are on there. They're African, but they symbolize things like being supportive and being loving and being strong, just different things that women are day to day throughout their lives, the different hats that they wear.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell me what the symbols are on there? You have a lot of different.
Yes, the strength. There's a symbol on there for strength, being a companion, being loving, being a partner, being intelligent, being strong. Usually when I show that picture, I have another sheet that goes beside it that explains what each one of those symbols represent.
I see. I see. Okay. And this is done in acrylic. All right.
This is acrylic and metallic marker.
Okay. Okay. Now, what is this in the blue reflection in her eye? Is she looking at something particular that's being reflected?
That blue reflection is just the light that she's looking into. She's looking into light, and that's the light reflecting back in her eye.
Okay, very good. Does anyone on the call, any of the participants, do you have a question for Grace? And if you do, please unmute yourself and go ahead and ask the question.
Hi, Grace. I just wanted to say I love your work.
Thank you.
It's really captivating. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hi, Grace.
Hi.
I just want to congratulate you. I love both paintings, and what I like in both is there is something hidden in the eyes. Both eyes speaks more than, I don't know how to maybe you can tell me more, but the eyes speaks more than the paintings, in both paintings.
Yeah, I try to paint where there is a feeling where the person that's looking at the painting is drawn into the painting.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's definitely purposely done.
Yeah, I can tell.
And I want to add that these are very expressive, beautiful paintings.
Yeah, beautiful. Well done.
I enjoy painting both of them.
Great job.
It comes through. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Right. Great. Hi, Keely. Great.
Hey.
Let me first go to your page so people can see your art. Very nice.
Thank you.
So Keely, can you tell us a little bit about your background before you talk about the paintings?
Yes. So my name is Keely Houk. I'm from, currently I'm living in Waldorf, Maryland, and I am a professional graphic designer. I do all of the branding for this little liberal arts college called St. Mary's College of Maryland. So I'm responsible for all of their design, all of their advertising. And then in addition to that, I've published and actually written and illustrated a graphic novel called Conducted, which is on Amazon. And then I've also been in various other things. So I was featured as like a small kind of graphic vignette in this thing called the Great Courses on the short story. And so kind of like I have a background is kind of a more digital artist and a little bit of a writer. And so this was, during the COVID pandemic, I really started thinking a lot about like who I am as an artist, specifically how my background as a graphic designer and as an advertising person kind of works with my illustration, as well as, you know, how I promote myself and, you know, the different relationships between narrative and my art. And so these three pieces were all created during the pandemic. I actually, so because I've been stuck inside, I've been working from home, and things have been, you know, it's been really tumultuous. I've wanted to kind of capture like a lot of the feelings that I've been having in this kind of modern stylistic illustrative style. So I'm really influenced by a lot of the New Yorker artists. So like Malika Favre is one of my favorite artists. There's a ton of other, you know, contemporary illustrators that, you know, I'm obsessed with, but I've started to kind of think of these different pieces and experiences. Oh. Nobody's on the phone. Oops. Okay. And so I've tried to, you know, do really stylistic kind of color combinations, as well as a very simplified approach to my design and art. So usually, so in the past I was very like abstract, very expressive. I was a painter, but with this I have very limited color palettes. I like to use high contrast and saturated colors, but I also designed everything to mimic social media. So the standard size of social media, like a picture on Instagram is, it's a square, and it's the same as on Facebook. So I was thinking, oh, okay, so I'm creating this digital art that's really saturated, and I wanted to kind of mimic that social media, because a lot of the interactions that we have with art, especially during the pandemic, are exclusive to Instagram and Facebook. So I'm like, okay, so how do I have this narrative art and then also kind of capture that everyone is just seeing my art on social media, no one's actually seeing it in person. So I wanted to kind of add that into my work. And then I wanted to do this really high color contrast and this pattern kind of work with a lot of my pieces.
Now, Keely, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
In each three of the paintings, you have one solitary figure.
Yes.
What significance does that have?
So I really like to play with the audience and the viewer in their relationship to the figure in it. So two of these, actually all of them, none of the figures are engaging with the viewer. So you as the viewer are kind of in this private solitary moment. And that for me was really important with the pandemic, because a lot of us are going through this alone, or we have very limited support, you know, from, you know, where we are. And so I wanted to have this loneliness in each of these pieces. And it's also in all of my other pieces too, because I do find something really compelling about a quiet moment, and then having, you know, the colors and the graphic elements really pull you into that painting, but you're experiencing it with this person, you know. So I love to kind of play with those different visual cues, if that makes sense. So
very, very nice, very nice. I think these are very well executed.
Thank you.
And please, anyone who has a question for Keely, unmute yourself and go ahead and ask it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Have you always worked with metal prints? Because I've tried a couple of times to work with them and haven't been really successful with them.
Yeah, well, a lot of the work I do is digital. So what is the best medium to hold that digital form? You know, it's not like I'm painting on these surfaces. I create them using Illustrator. Sometimes I use textural elements from Photoshop, or, you know, because I'm primarily an advertiser, so then I end up getting these all printed using kind of the metal prints, and I've had really nice success with them. Sometimes I'll do, you know, fine art prints and stuff, like I've experimented with different forms and stuff like that. But I'm sorry, did I interrupt somebody?
No, I was just saying G-clays.
Yeah, and I do some of those as well. But I don't know, something about the metal, it feels more, I don't want to take away from kind of the art prints, but it feels like you're getting a more, you know, stable piece when you hold it. I have a couple like on my wall and they really stand out, but they also kind of get that feeling I have of that, of the kind of the holding you at a distance as well, because I am digital. So that metal kind of connects you with that medium that you're first experiencing it on.
Yeah, especially like the colorful one that you have there with the umbrella.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's my favorite one too. Appreciate it.
Very nice, very nice. All right, thank you so much, Keely. So you don't paint directly on, you get them printed from the digital file to the producer who, or the printer, I should say.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and as a graphic designer, I have a lot of background in that, so I've gone through different places and I found the people that I trust, and, you know, I try not to do too many of them, you know, because that adds value to your prints, so yeah.
Thank you, Keely.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, you can unmute yourself, mute yourselves. Kenlynn, are you with us? Kenlynn? I see she's here. Uh-oh. She was here in just this second. I don't see her anymore. Wow, that's interesting. Well, I guess she'll come back. Jerome? Natalie? Kathleen? Shireen, I know you're here. Shireen?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Shireen, great. So can you tell us a little bit about your homeland and where you're from and where you are now and a little background?
God, that's a long, long story.
Only 1 minute on that part.
Okay. So I shall not go back to 1958.
No.
I shall start with 2020.
Okay. Well, you're originally from which city in India?
Well, I can't really say that because I'm all India.
Okay.
I've traveled all over the place and I've been all over India. So
Okay.
my parents were from Kerala. So you can say that I am a Malayali.
Okay.
But Malayalam is the language, so we are called Malayalis.
And now you're in Virginia.
Now I am in Virginia with my husband.
Okay, very good. So tell us about the pieces that you have in the show. I have your page on here, and I'll also go to the gallery.
Hey, Keely, you're not the only graphic designer. I'm also one of them. So I started off my career as an advertising person. That's Keely's work, not my work.
Right,
So,
I'm pulling it up.
Keely, you've been loved.
Yeah, I have to get to the platform to get your work.
Yeah. So this year, I've been very involved with a lot of button making. I make a lot of buttons, and mostly they are politically related. Mm-hmm. They are either puns or they are fun buttons. I won't call myself an anti button maker, but I do have some funny ones for the anti ones. That is, so anyway, this particular piece is on plastics. Mm-hmm. As you can see, the COVID-19 has brought in a whole lot of plastics into the market as for masks and other protective gear. So now, as we were having problems with plastics, single-use plastics. So we are going to have a bigger problem now if we don't know or we don't find a way to dispose of the plastic that we are using for our protective gear for protecting us from this particular virus. Mm. So that's my concern. And plastic has always been my concern right from the beginning before COVID. So single-use plastic like straws, and that's exactly what I have used over here, is single-use plastic. And I don't know if many people know that soda cans, the inside of the soda can is actually a thin layer of plastic. So there is it's not 100% aluminum. It's a thin layer of plastic, and the only 100% aluminum is the tab. So the centerpiece that I've used over there is also, it's actually a soda can. So what I'm trying to say is it does look like a virus. My dear structure over here looks like a virus. It may be very colorful, but don't get fooled. It can be dangerous. And the blue in the structure is the fluids that when it is contagious. So that's the reason why you have to wear a mask. So you kind of try to prevent the blue coming towards you. So that's what I had in my mind for this particular piece.
Okay, thank you. Again, we're sort of behind. So, and these two are your commentary on the need to vote.
The need to vote, that your vote counts. No matter who you're voting for. I'm not campaigning for any particular candidate, but your vote is your power, and that you have to use.
And you're selling these as posters or buttons?
I'm selling them as posters, postcards, and buttons.
Okay.
So the buttons look like this.
Okay,
And it's actually the year of the rat. 2020 is the year of the rat. And it's also linked to the plague.
Wow.
And well, I can say that coronavirus is almost another plague of sorts.
Does anyone have a question for Shireen? If you do, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Shireen, hi.
Yes. Hi.
First of all, congratulations on your artistic product. It's beautiful. I love the creativity of the first one. For a second, I thought it's an eye, and while you're giving description about it, you could see it more as I don't know. I feel it's an eye, and it is like especially the middle of it. It's as if something is looking at us. So while you're describing it, it's as a virus. I was saying, wow, it's such a contradiction, but it's beautifully done. Yeah, well done. I mean, it's just so creative.
Every bit of material there is plastic. It's single-use plastic.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. How long did it take you? I mean, really...
I did it in short times, so I wouldn't really know how long it took me, but maybe about a week.
Yeah, it's very nice. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shireen. Thank you. Ilana? Tom? Is Tom?
Hello?
Yeah, Ilana? Oh, great. Hi.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just had to unmute myself.
Thank you. So, Alana, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your homeland, and where you are now? And then we'll go to your artwork. So while I get to your artwork, you know, just sort of tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Elena. I'm originally from Israel. I was born in Sweden and I grew up in Israel. And I moved here about 7 years ago to America. I started my DFA degree in fine art in Israel, and then I moved here after I met my husband, and I transferred to SVA in Manhattan, and that's where I lived until 2 years ago, where I moved to New Jersey. And yes, this is my painting. And so I graduated about 2 years ago, and then I live in New Jersey with my husband and my 2 kids. I have 2 little kids, which makes, I think for me, the pandemic very hard to handle with everything that is going on, and 2 kids, and less time to make art. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I used to work in the city in Manhattan as an art teacher, and right when everything started, I quit this job. I couldn't work there anymore, and I was mostly at home. In the beginning with 2 of my kids, and later they went to daycare, so I had some time for myself. So there is a lot of bad things going on, but for me, I feel like eventually it worked out with my art, because I had more time to make art, and I be with myself and do what makes good for myself. So I was mostly at home, and at the beginning, I felt like I have kind of an artist block. I didn't know like what I'm gonna paint, and I didn't have the desire to paint. And then I started to like stick to the windows. I was, yeah, this is my window. And I was fascinated by the light that comes from outside. I was like an animal in the zoo, like when you look outside. And I started to paint the windows and my patio, and I felt like it's this little area that is right in between the outside world and my private space.
It's very architectural.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you like straight lines and geometry?
I guess. Yeah.
It's a very good balance, I feel, because here in this piece you have life, and then you also have the geometric shapes. It's a very nice balance of straight line and curvilinear shapes.
Yeah.
The colors.
Yeah, it's a little different from, this is my new body of work, and beforehand I used to paint a lot of portraits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I used to paint my husband a lot and my kid, and now it's like I transformed my interest.
So this is still considered then the life drawing, because because you're sitting still and you're recreating what you see and the shadows and the colors. Did you create new colors for what you saw, or these were the colors?
Definitely, yeah, definitely new colors. That's what I always do. Also with my portraits, it's also very colorful.
It's very lively, very lively. Does anyone have any questions for Elena? You can unmute yourself and ask.
I'm sorry, I also forgot to thank you for including me in this beautiful show.
Oh, you're welcome. Your work was
very honored. Yeah.
Very beautiful. Very well done. Very well done.
Thank you.
Anyone have questions?
The banister is awesome.
And great. Thank you, Anne.
The what?
Say that again, Anne.
I'm sorry.
The banister, the stair banister is awesome. It's one of my favorites.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Very nice. And the blue is very, very striking. Very striking. Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to move along. Let's see. Is anybody that was in gallery 3 that I called here now and weren't here before? I think Tom, Natalie, I think Jerome spoke. Okay, so we are going to move along to gallery 2.
Carolyn?
Yes, and I know you're here, sweetheart. You're also in another gallery, right? You're in gallery 1. So do you want to talk about your work now? Uh-oh.
Yeah, sure. I was having so many technical difficulties with my computer, and so now I'm joining the meeting via my phone.
Okay, that's great. So so tell us quickly about yourself and about especially A Burst of Life.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm Ann Clinton. I grew up in Los Angeles, California. And I have to throw in there where I visited and skated at the beach, visited the beach and skated at the beach lots. I really love the beach, and being with my dad was one of my favorite memories of childhood. Regarding Burst of Life, I'm currently living in Dallas, Texas, and I spend a lot of time with my baby girl. We watch YouTube videos and everything, and she just turned me on to a lot of artists that have teaching tutorials on YouTube, and I love the way a lot of the artists kind of splatter paint all over the canvas, everything. And I told her, we have to get together and we have to try some of this. So that's one of the things I did that resulted in Burst of Life. I just enjoy, I love working with vibrant colors, and I just to kind of just smear paint all over the canvas and just chunk it all together there, and just trying different techniques. And as a result, it became Burst of Life, and that's just what it looked like to me and to people I shared it with. So that's how it became Burst of Life.
Very good. And did you use a palette knife for the center of the piece?
Actually, yes. For the center, for the all the colors clumped in the center, yes, I did use a palette knife. I believe I probably used my trowel as well. But for the colors spreading out to the edges of the canvas, I did use a brush for that.
Okay, okay. Very, very nice technique, and also for the texture. I think the palette knife worked excellently for that texture that you put in there. Very good. Does anybody have a question for Ann for this piece? I always ask my questions first, you know. Okay, so we are actually on gallery 2, supposed to be on gallery 2. So I think Vance is here. Vance, are you here?
Yes.
All right, good to see you. So we are in gallery 2, which is this one here. It's Vance, can you, I'm gonna call up your your page here. Can you introduce yourself and tell everyone what's your background, and then we'll get to the artwork.
Right. So basically, I'm from Pickering, Ontario. I'm an emerging artist, a Canadian emerging artist, self-taught. I've always loved doing art. I did take a break from it for a while, but pandemic kind of forced me to like remind me how much I love it. And after taking that break, I don't see myself taking another break. And that's basically how I got back into art. I also want to say, Kenlynn, I do really love the idea of the art showcase series. And I really do appreciate what you're doing for the artists, giving us a platform.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Vance. It's great that you're here and participating. Not everybody takes me up on the opportunities, right? But you showed up, and thank you for sharing your visions. Can you talk a little bit about DNA?
Yeah, so DNA is one, it displays one of the most iconic stories in history. Demons and angels have always been depicted as being complete opposites, you know, continuously in conflict. But the way DNA really explores the possibility of an underlying relationship between the two. And the concept of DNA is really based on the concept of yin and yang, that good can't exist without evil and that evil can't exist without good. And DNA explores the possibility that if the two beings understood that their existence depends on each other, they'd be able to build a mutual respect for each other. Based on this respect, they would realize that they have more similarities than differences. For example, one main similarity is both their jobs really revolve around influencing the human world. And once they realize that they have many things in common, they could build a friendship. And of course, the alcohol and the drugs only help amplify that already friendly atmosphere. And the reason why it's titled DNA, other than the obvious demons and angels, is the fact that the concept of a good side and a bad side is part of everyone. It's everyone's DNA. You can find the nicest person and then you threaten someone they love, like you threaten their family, and they're going to show traits similar to a demon. You get the meanest person and you give them a puppy, and you can watch them turn into an angel. So that kind of aspect is in all of us.
Yes.
And then how it pertains to the pandemic, because the pandemic at first impression seems completely negative, and it definitely has many negative aspects, but there are some positive aspects that do arise from this circumstance. People are able to do things they're not normally able to. For example, spend time with their family, revisit their passions, things like that. So it kind of shows that in every negative situation, there's always a positive. Every positive situation is always a negative, but you really have to appreciate and acknowledge the drawbacks just as much as you appreciate and acknowledge the benefits. So that was kind of the idea with DNA.
Very, very, very insightful. Very insightful. Thank you. And how about this one, which is gift? Oops, sorry. This.
Right.
I clicked too quickly and then it kind of drops. Okay.
That's okay. So gift is really a manifestation of talent, aspiration, and dreams, which is placed within each of us when we're born. So the gift is what makes everyone unique. It's also what differentiates people from machines. And although it makes us unique, it is also the common factor between everyone. Everyone has had a gift or has a gift that allows them to relate to others. And the reason why it takes on the form of a flame is because some people's aspirations and passions have been snuffed out by external or internal forces, while others were able to or are able to protect their gift and allowing it to grow and flourish. And the way that gift pertains to the pandemic is that the pandemic provides a rare opportunity for people to return their attention back onto their gift, because the pandemic eliminates a lot of the distractions that comes with society. So without those distractions, they return their attention back on their gift. And while doing so, some people are met with a pile of ashes because their gift was snuffed out before the pandemic. So now they have to either create a new one or rekindle the old one. So other people are able to protect their gift even throughout or even before the pandemic. So now they can move to the next level and make it more efficient. And then finally, the third group is still trying to figure out what their gift can do its limitations and strengths.
Now you have in the center of this flame what looks like a whirlwind. Can you talk about that aspect? Because flames usually don't have that inside, so you've added that to this flame whirl. So can you talk about that?
Sorry, can you just repeat that quickly? Someone just...
Oh, okay. In the center of the flame, you have what looks like a whirlpool, which usually isn't a part of fire. It's usually a part of air or water. So
right.
like a tornado, right? Or a hurricane, it'll have that center. So can you talk about how it is that that whirlpool wound up in your flame?
Yeah, so it's really just a mixture. So just like an eye of the storm kind of thing, it all comes together. Obviously, there's different, the flames are the different paths. So there's different paths that your gift can take you, and it all comes back to the center. So that's kind of the root of your gift.
Ah, okay, thank you. Now these two pieces, the aesthetic is a bit different. Here you have something that's more lifelike, I guess, right? Because of the hands are depicted as natural, like a life drawing. And this one, even though, here we go again. And the DNA piece is just so whimsical, very whimsical. Can you talk about the difference of expression that you selected for these two people?
Yeah, so really, I think you're seeing most of that in the process that I use to come up with it, because I usually have two ways I come up with my art pieces. It's literally, the first one is I come up with whatever message I want to send first, and then I create based around the message I want to send, or I create the art piece first, and then I build the backstory and message after. So in Gift, I created art piece first, and I kind of built the backstory around the art piece. And in DNA, I definitely came up with the message of balance and yin and yang before, and then I figured out how I want to convey that. So that's what you're seeing.
Ah, thank you for sharing that. Thank you very much. So you have the different aesthetics as really a timeline for your creativity, or how you use it. Got it. Excellent. Does anyone have any questions for Vance? If you do, please unmute yourself now and ask it.
This is Anne. I don't have a question, but it's beautiful. The gift in the palm of the hands is amazing. Really beautiful.
Thank you.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say that I really do enjoy the concept of both of the paintings.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Carolyn, I don't know if it's okay. I know it's kind of off script, but I do have a question for the artists and the audience.
Sure.
So my question is, it does pertain to DNA. So if we can get a zoom up of DNA.
Sure.
I already talked about the mutual respect and the friendship, but I want to know what the artists and the audience think. So I know I'm around a whole bunch of creative people. I want to know what they think of what or who you think the two of them are laughing at. Because in the piece, they're arm in arm and they're laughing. And it would have to be something that was interesting said for a demon and an angel to laugh at the same thing. So yeah, I know it's going to take a while. It's kind of a tough one.
I have an answer. I think they're laughing at two things. They're laughing at themselves and they're laughing at the human.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're laughing at the human. Or human.
I agree with that too.
I was about to say the same. I'm not one of the artists in the exhibit. I really like this piece, your DNA, and I felt that they were laughing at us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I like the way you handled the piece also.
I think they know that there's something going on, that there is this yin yang, and they know that there's a unity there. Everybody else has missed the point, but they know that it's all okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Right, so they have like an inside joke kind of thing.
Right.
I like it. The reason why I asked that, Carolyn, is because really the goal for my artwork isn't really to explain my backstory, even though I could talk about my art all day. It's really to get other people's interpretation and for everyone to have a different interpretation. So that's really my goal for my art.
Ah, well, thank you for asking that question. Thank you. I love that you're asking participation of as many attendees as possible. I love it. Do you have anything else you'd like to wrap up with, Vance?
That's about it. In case anyone, because I know everyone's not going to get a chance to speak, especially the audience can't really interact with us now. I would love for you guys to message me on Instagram, just DM me at VanceFC Studios and let me know your interpretation on it. And if it's creative and interesting, I'll definitely post it. I'll definitely shout you out.
Right. And if any of you need to get that again, it's on his page, and you could get his page from this page here, right? He's in gallery number 1, I believe. No?
Number 2, I believe.
Sorry. Yeah, number 2, right? So once you click on his name, this page comes up, and his Instagram handle is here under his name here. And these are his 2 works.
Yeah, that's another reason I love the idea of the showcase, because it has everything in one place.
Right, right. I try my best to promote the artists and make it easy for collectors to collect and for people to get information on the artists. And also for me, myself, because I get calls several times asking about artists. And so this is a great record for myself also to see, okay, who does what, you know, how can I contact them? So it's not just for marketing, it's also just for record keeping too. And I think that's a good idea for you guys who have a website, right? To use your website as a record keeper of your artwork, right? Of your activities, right? Like here we have the art exhibitions and so forth. Just use your website as much as possible. All right. So any other questions or comments for Vance? All right. Thank you very much, Vance. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we're up to Tillman. Tillman, are you here? I think he is. Let's see. I have him. No, he's not on the call yet. Okay. Lou. Dr. Lou, are you here? No. Okay. Anand. I think Anand is here. Anand?
Hi.
Hi, Anand. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
I'm Anand Manchiraju.
Yeah. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background while I get your piece through the gallery.
Yeah. I'm Anand, artist as well as a photographer, professional photographer. My exhibit is a fashion of both art and photography. I have shown a painting entitled Waiting. It is a combination of photography and painting. It is a unique artwork made by photochemicals on bromide. So this, I call it as photo painting.
Very nice. Now I understand bromide is very, very historical,
sensitive.
Very historical medium. Can you tell us a little bit about the process?
Yeah, actually what happened when I was studying photography, by accident I have seen a piece of bromide paper in my studio. There's some chemical splitted on it. So that has become a very good, interesting subject for me, the form and the colors there. So from that time onwards, I started thinking that I should work with the chemicals. And I worked for 5 years with various photographic chemicals on bromide.
Wow.
So see what happens, there is no camera, there is no dark room involved in this, only chemical and the bromide paper. It is done in the normal room light. But the most important thing is, difficult thing is, you have to finish your drawing just before the reaction completes. The reaction mostly completes within 2 minutes. So within 2 minutes, you have to complete your drawing. Whatever is in your heart, it will come. So sometimes if you do some mistake, it is very difficult to correct it.
So you have to do the whole entire piece in 2 minutes.
Yes, yes. After mastering this technique, I have started working on bromide rolls also, bigger size. I made many series on forms and figures, Indian deities, and some landscapes, some portraits also. And all these works were exhibited in many international exhibitions.
So can you talk about the story or the idea behind waiting?
Yeah. I don't want to grow in age and space. That man waiting, in my painting, that man is waiting. He don't want to grow in age and space. While he is waiting for this pandemic, coronavirus to go away. It should vanish, he says. So he's missing all the important day-to-day learnings and his experiences. We are missing. There are many things we are missing due to this coronavirus. So we are waiting with a big hope that one day this will disappear. So in the position of mine is also like that, because I came from India to visit my son in Pittsburgh, and I am stuck here for 7 months. 5 times the flight have been cancelled from London to India is not going.
Wow. So that is your airport shut down in
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. 7 months.
So we are waiting with a hope.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to submit this work for this show. Really pertinent piece. Very good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Does anyone have a question for our artist? Anyone? If you do, please unmute yourself and ask.
Anand, this is Anne. I really like the picture, Waiting. It's very thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anne. Any other comments or questions for Anand? Anand, I know you say that it only takes you, well, it has to finish in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And your larger pieces, is that true then as well? You have to do these large pieces in 2 minutes?
You know, I do it part by part. In one space I finish, but whatever you want to do, you have to do it within 2 minutes. When I am doing a mural, it will be 2 minutes. I will finish that part, and again I will come to the second part and third part, like that.
Okay, but you can't.
It is a latent image becomes appearing in 2 minutes.
Okay.
While you are drawing with the chemical, you are not able to see it.
Okay. Wow.
It won't be visible. But
okay.
the effects are very good.
We see, yes. All right. Any other last questions or comments for Anand?
And I would like to tell you these works are collected in many private collections.
I bet.
And J.R.D. Tata And some embassies they have collected in the earlier.
They're very unique, and not everyone understands how to create with bromide, that's for sure. Allan, are you here? Allan,
yes, I'm here.
Oh, very good, Allan. Okay, let's click on your name, and then can you introduce yourself and where you're from and a little bit about you while I get your artwork on?
Okay. I'm Allan Tager. I live in Vero Beach, Florida. I grew up in Pennsylvania. Initially, I was a psychology professor, and I left that back in 1980 to be an artist. And for years, my major work was what I called bodyscapes, with little toys on nude bodies to give the illusion of landscape. And I had just started a new body of work just before the pandemic. And that's what you see here. These are done with dollhouse miniatures and little figurines and so forth. Essentially tabletop photography, no nudes on these. They're all done as a single shot. It's not Photoshop. Okay. When just about a year or two ago, I taught a course about the artist as a shaman. I taught that at the museum here in Vero Beach. And that really started me thinking about the role of the artist and how we do very much what the shaman did in primitive societies. We connect people with the gods, with the cosmos, with spirituality and the inner journey. And that's really the role of the artist, I think, in our culture. And when the pandemic started, I was actually at an art show. They closed it down, sent everybody home from the art festival. And we said, well, what are we going to do? We're going to be here for a while. And my girlfriend, Barbara Krupp, who was at the last month's event that you ran,
yes,
we both said, we're going to do this as an artist retreat. We're going to be, there are artist retreats all over the place. You pay money and go to place to be able to work on your art and not have disturbances. We said, okay, that's what we got here. It's a month, 2 months, a year. We have no idea, but this is going to be like an artist retreat. And we've been doing art and doing all the other stuff like baking and cooking and gardening. But the art has really been good. It's been really a time when we had no interruptions and could do our art. This piece here actually was done just before the pandemic. This is, it's funny, the little globe was just about the size of a golf ball. I said, well, what can I balance it on? And when I came up with a golf tee, yeah, it was perfect. It was, it sort of showed the earth as being very vulnerable. You know, it could be whacked by a golf. It also,
it's balanced so well because it's balancing so
and actually, that was done with a hidden thing that got photoshopped out. But,
okay, got you.
But it's also a comment on somebody who does a lot of golfing when they should be governing, but that's another story.
Okay.
But the point of the Buddha, this comes from the Tao Te Ching, the ancient Eastern philosophy that says, who can sit quietly until the mud settles? And there's always mud stirred up. And we always have the choice of being freaked out or being serene and waiting for things to settle down. So this one I did just before the pandemic began. And then the next picture, if you have the one with the man in the, actually the one after that is one with the next one is the one I wanted to mention. This is, I had this little cage thing, which was actually, no, wrong, the other picture, if we could. Yeah. That little cage was actually a little candle holder, and I had gotten that years ago. I didn't know what I would use it for. And I said, wow, this is perfect. This is what, you know, we're all locked down. We have to keep distance from other people. We're trapped, if we want to look at it that way. So, but that was the prevailing feeling. It's like suddenly, wow, there's nowhere we can go. And that's what led to this picture here. And the third picture is...
Before you move on, it's interesting that you have him above his couches, so he can't even enjoy his couch.
Well, it was just that, it wasn't that he can't sit on the couch, it was just that there was this feeling of being constrained.
Ah, okay.
Not that he can't get to the couch, but that there's a lot of emptiness. There's really nowhere to go.
Ah, okay.
You know, it's just our choice to what we're going to do about that.
Right.
And this is sort of the answer to that. These little vials there are containers with pills. It was a set of pill cases that I had actually found in a house that I bought years ago. And they're filled with pills. They actually have pills for fever and liver problems and cough and all of these things. And what I thought of, okay, here's what's going on. There's sickness out there. There's all of this stuff going on. It's painful and crazy. What can we do? Can we find joy? Can we find a way to enjoy ourselves and feel free within the constraints, within the cage, so to speak, from the other picture? And I had these little figurines around, and one day it just all came together. Most of these pictures are done by going into my studio and playing some spiritual music. I can't remember the name on Pandora. Sutra Rhythms, I think, is the name of the station that I tune into. And I'd sit and meditate, listen to that music, and then sometimes I've got an idea and I make a picture, and sometimes I don't. But that's what I've been doing. And that during the pandemic, I haven't been working with models, so I can't do my other work. So I've been concentrating on this work.
Very good. Well, thank you. Thank you. Very, very unique, thought-provoking, and fun. Very much fun. Now, does anyone have any question for Allan? If you do, you can unmute yourself and ask Allan, do you have any last words?
Well, just thank you for including me in this. This is a very interesting experience and very nice.
Great.
Appreciate being here.
You're welcome. I'm glad you could make it and glad you participated and shared your creativity with us. It's just great to see all these different versions of creativity. Life is so big, you know? So thank you again. Salma, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background. And,
sure.
Okay.
So my name is Salma Arastu. I'm actually in California at the present, but I'm from India originally. And I have been enjoying all your work. I mean, no doubt about it. It's nice. And I worked with Kenlynn before. She has shown my pieces earlier also. So well, it's a nice opportunity to meet so many different artists. And right now in California, we're going through wildfires. You must be aware of it. So it's pray for all. I am doing the same, and it's scary. So anyways, I have been painting for many years. I did my master's in painting from India in late 70s. So you can imagine, since 40 years, I've been painting and exhibiting my paintings. In India, I didn't stay much. We lived in Middle East for many years in between, and then we came to USA. And from Pennsylvania to California. So that's my journey. So well, I work with many mediums, I would say. I do paintings and sculptures and collages and even mixed media. And my inspiration is Arabic calligraphy and miniature paintings and folk art. I mean, these three have influenced me. So here I sent two pieces. One is Arabic calligraphy. It's my very deeply attached to this work, and I bring out the very positive verses from Quran, and I do very large paintings. Like these are 72 inches wide or 78 inches tall or 48 inches wide. So like they're big sizes, particularly for this kind of painting. And I work in layers, and I maybe 20, 30 layers of calligraphy. The calligraphy is that one.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is calligraphy. The other painting. Yeah. So in this particular verse, it says that until you change yourself, God is not going to change things for you. So especially in COVID time, I have worked a lot. That's a blessing. And this particular thought came to mind because the climate change, we are suffering through, so many things, the wildfires, COVID, or heat, so hurricanes. So, but I definitely feel that it's the human beings who brought this on themselves. So God is always kind. That's my trust. I trust him. So this particular verse says that, and as I told you, I used many, many layers. And my intention was just to bring people close to my work and read what it says. They may not read the Arabic, but they read the English, and at least they try to understand a thought from a different faith, I mean, to understand it actually. So that it has been very successful work. I have had many, many shows also with this kind of work. And the same line, the lyrical line, I call it, there's a very melodious and lyrical, very rhythmic line, the Arabic. Yeah. So this line has influenced my other work also. So the next painting, which is here, this is actually pandemic. It's like, I do human figures with the same lyrical line, very fluent, very spontaneous, and they present, represent the human figures connected. My intention is to bring people together. That's my intention. And I always try my best to connect them symbolically, like they're all connected. So in this particular thing, I'm showing that pandemic is all over around us, nobody can escape it. The whole humanity is affected, whether you're black or white or brown, but it's affecting all. So people in the center are dying, the white lines you see in the center are horizontal. So they are like the people are dying and other people are just watching, anxious all around. So I do, and this is also a very large painting. This is actually almost 10 feet wide and 8 feet tall.
Right. This is correct here. This size is incorrect. Yes, it was 8 feet by 6 feet, I believe.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So I've been working like that. But I do small pieces also, and I have a lot of work. My website has all my work, and you can certainly, I'll appreciate if you go back and look at my website. This the particular shot I sent of myself. I'm doing the large painting on Arabic calligraphy. So I enjoy my work, and I'm very grateful. That my heart is full of gratitude, and I feel really blessed that I can express myself. And I've been showing my work around many places.
Thank you for sharing your work. It is very beautiful, and thank you for submitting your work for this show, for sure. Does anyone have any questions for Salma? Please unmute yourself and ask away.
I don't have a question, but a very beautiful work.
Thank you.
Salma, I have just one question here for this piece.
Yeah.
I noticed that you have like patterns. Yes, the patterns in the background.
Yeah.
Are they of any significance, this particular pattern?
No, I just use different Islamic geometric patterns.
Okay.
So that's a stencil I use in the background. First, I try to create the textures, and then I go with my lines, and then again with textures. Like it's a layers. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah. Well, I know in Arabic countries, the geometric forms that keep going, that
that infinite.
Yes, it's a part of the aesthetic of
it's infinite. They are infinite. Geometric patterns are infinite. Because in Islam, you're not supposed to present the picture of God. Like image of God. So these words are his God's words, and the patterns are his endless image, is infinite. He's all over, he's spread everywhere.
Yeah.
That's the concept.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, but,
All right. Any other last questions for Salma? Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question, please. Would you say that this art that you're doing with the tessellations relates to fractals?
Say it again.
Is there a relationship between the way you cover a plane in Islamic art with the tessellations? Is that related to fractal?
Fractal.
Yeah.
To the fractal, the mathematics of fractal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, geometric pattern is mathematical based, yes. But I didn't understand maybe your question again.
Well, I was wondering, I mean, I understand the idea of the tessellations where you cover an area with a pattern, but is there also, do you, in any formal way, address the idea of fractals when you're doing the work?
This is fractal, Salma. He's asking.
Okay. Oh, okay. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Now, I was going to say, I thought it was because it looks like you're repeating the pattern as your very background, but then you layer other things on top of that pattern.
Yes.
So fractals is something from, here's another idea with fractals. So you could look up fractals and just.
Oh yeah, I look up, yeah.
Well, one of the principal ideas is that fractals are self-referential.
Okay.
And I get that impression of some of that in your work. It seems as though.
Okay. I'll check it out. I'll check it out because even that this term I haven't used, so I'll better check it out.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll do that.
And thanks. And Carolyn, thanks for being so quick on showing us.
I know.
You're welcome. I think that's one of the beauties of a Zoom call, right? Sharing your.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I must tell you, I've enjoyed this evening as much as any real life interaction when I go to an opening in a show.
Good.
For different reasons, perhaps, but nevertheless, every bit is enjoyable. So thank you for what you've done for us.
Yeah, thank you. In fact, during pandemic, I have 3-4 shows like this online, you know, with the opening reception like this. And I'm thinking it's really nice. At least we get to talk to the artist. Yes. Because generally when you go to the exhibition, you know, people are eating food and things and that, so distracting. Right. So I think this is more concentration is on the artwork and the artist. You know?
Yes.
So absolutely. And I can't hear in a crowd very well anyway.
Exactly.
So, and the other thing I've been doing is I've been looking at the pieces even closer as I'm watching it on the large screen. I also have my iPhone and I can zoom in because I'm in the same gallery as you're showing.
Oh, yes, right. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I can't do that when I'm crowded around in real life.
That's true. No, but it's wonderful. I have to leave, but thank you so much, everybody. And my website is salmaarastu.com and same name with the Instagram. I'll check your contacts also, and it's great to know all of you.
So
nice meeting you.
Knows how to get in contact with each other through the website, right?
Sure. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you. Take care. Good night.
Good night, Salma.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, guys. Now I know that there are a couple of artists who haven't spoken as yet. Either they came in a little late or they had trouble with their technical difficulties. So is there anyone here now, one of the artists who would like to talk about their art who we haven't heard from? Please unmute yourself and
I want to talk.
Elena, there you are. Okay. So Elena, you're in gallery 1. Okay. Please, Elena, please introduce yourself while I get your artwork on view and tell us where your homeland is and where you are now.
Okay, I am enjoying a lot all your artwork, I think, and I am very grateful for Caroline and all of you. I think we are saying things. I come from Spain. It's my 3rd year here as a teacher, art teacher. I have 890 students, elementary students. And bueno, I have been making art since I was little. So in 70s and 60s, I am a sculptor, but I like all media. And these are three artworks. 2 of them I arrange my artwork in 3 ways of spiritual knowledge. I am very concerned, like Sharon, in the planet, in the future of the planet. Because I come from Europe. In Europe, we have already eaten our forest. And here, I don't think here you are, because you have a lot of trees and you are not concerned as much as people there of the waste of things. I have been crying during 3 years because kids throw the pencils to the floor. Bueno, I think we all have a lot of things to do, to say, and to, I think universe is giving us a kick, so we wake up. And I work with my students, these 2 works. In my art, I work in 3 ways of spiritual knowledge. In the alchemic way is this one. I like to transform from plomo to gold. I work with the students. Is the, I don't know who was that says that the process, it's inductive or deductive. When you know what you want to do and you go to the idea, or when you're working and the idea comes to you. The other way is the priestly way, the spiritual. I like all the religions. I like to make, bueno, I like to go inside them, and because they are all the same. I think we have to reach human unity. We don't need now to separate, to be different. Bueno, we have to have identity, but we have to join all our, I think we have to make something to get out of here and to elevate conscience. So this I have been working with my students. This one, they are 1 by 1. And it is called All Our Reward is to See. They are mental maps. This is I have here a sketch. It's a map of the signature, and it's the perception. It's because I think now we live in the cybernetic age, and we are not learning our students how to read a picture. Bueno, por lo menos in Europe. Here you like much more art, you share, it's different. But where I come in education, they don't look at, bueno, we are trying to, but here I like mental maps, and I have joined visual language, the art through the age, color, shape. We are working, it's called map of signature. Signature in Spain, a signature is subject, but signature is a signature. So I have, I make like puzzles. Estos son for this belongs to a 4, okay? Mm-hmm. This is the middle school. The other one is 7th grade. This one is called Atlas, was black too. And it's, Atlas was a Titan, that was condemned to hold the celestial heavens, okay? He looks like Jesus Christ. I have turned, this is a 83, my pictures, they are alive. I have converted it in the prayer of the 7 galactic directions. That is, it was Maya, but it's not a religious prayer, okay? But it's very, I love it because it says, from the east house of the light, may the wisdom dawn in us so we may see the things with clarity. From the north house of night, may wisdom ripen in us so we may know all from within. From the west house of transformation, make wisdom be transformed into right action so we may what it must be done. From the south house of the eternal sun, make right action, reap the harvest, so we can enjoy the fruits of the planetary being. From above house of heaven, where the star people and the ancestors gather, may blessings come to us now. And from below house of earth, may the heart birth of her crystal core, blessed with harmonies, to end with all the wars. And from the center galactic source, which is everywhere and at once, may everything be known as light of mutual love. This is the 7th prayer galactic directions. It was Atlas, was also black, because that is really my brother in a ¿cómo se llama? Bueno, where you put your feet to wash them, palangana, in a bowl.
Ah, okay.
But when I finished it, I saw because my brother is like Atlas for me. So that's it. Every picture has a history. And the other one at the right is the history through ages. I made it with 4th graders. No, 4th graders in Spain, they are 7th graders. And it's helicoidal. And it's all the history. It's what we are learning in 4th grade. I like to teach the art through ages with techniques. And we have made it with all. When I sell one of these pieces, I give the money to my students, or they go and have lunch or something.
Very nice, very nice. So Elena, these 2 pieces, this one here and this one on the other side of Atlas was black too. These were done with you and your students.
Yeah.
And then this one in the center was your own creation.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now, these are most wonderful, and I think it's wonderful that you are helping to teach the students through actually doing something so they can experience history and so forth, so it's more real to them. Does anyone have a question for Elena? If you do, please unmute yourself and ask away. Or comments. Anybody have a comment for Elena? Elena, I have a question for you. Are these words a part of the prayer that you were saying, that you were reciting, that's on his body?
Excuse, can you repeat?
The words here, these letters and the words.
Yeah.
Was this a part of the poem?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
It's the 7 galactic directions prayer. It's a prayer they made in, bueno, it's a prayer out of religions and made with different religions.
Ah, okay.
They made it, I don't know how many people has to be with, and it's religious, but it's not religious.
Got you, got it. It's spiritual. Okay.
That's it.
All right. Any other questions or comments for Elena's artwork? Do we have any other art teachers on the line? I thought we did. Okay. Thank you, Elena. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, all of you. Thanks so much.
I think because we've run over about 50 minutes or half hour. Does anybody have anything? But before I stop sharing my screen, right? I want to make sure all the artists got a chance to speak that did show up tonight to speak.
Hi, Carolyn. I don't think I had some time.
Oh, no. Okay, I think let's see, Rosario, you're in Gallery 2.
Yeah.
Right? So let me go there.
Okay, I'll be brief.
So you introduce yourself while I get your artwork.
Just a brief introduction. I was born in Chile, and my parents had an international career, so I lived in many countries growing up. As an artist, I've only had the opportunity to devote to my work this last 8 months. So the pandemic and my professional career as an artist coincide, and they go hand in hand, I think, because the pandemic has influenced my work quite a bit. And I think that is the light within the pandemic, that we've been able to focus and concentrate on something that before the pandemic we were just exercising whenever we had the chance.
Very good. These are just lovely paintings.
Thank you.
Are just
Carol, one more thing. I want to just thank you so much for this opportunity. And I love the way you work with all of us and are encouraging and inspirational to all of us. And God bless you, because you do great work. Great work.
Thank you. I could not do it without your work as well. I mean, I have the idea to help artists to promote themselves, have opportunities to show their beautiful work. And, you know, not everyone shows up, but you did, you know. So if you guys didn't show up, I wouldn't have anything to do except my work, right? But
the other colleagues are brilliant. Yeah. And so I just want to thank you and tell you, I think you're in your calling. You're following your calling.
Yes, I feel I am. Thank you. So can you tell us a little bit about this guy, Hope Always?
Well, yeah. So I painted him during the events of that followed Mr. George Floyd's death. And it was a very sad time for so many of us. And I just painted his spirit, a young man with just was simple, not complicated. And he went to, in my imagination, to the loft of his building. Where poppies were growing and they were hope.
Okay.
So it was just a moment of what I imagined his spirit did after his death, is just reflect and pray for hope. In the loft of a building or in the rooftop of a building in a urban setting, because he was from Houston. So I thought,
I see on all of your pieces, you do have florals in each of them.
Yeah, and that's just absolutely coincidental. But I think you're spot on right about that. There.
This one. Yeah. See the flowers, and this one has a little bird, a few birds in here. Can you talk about the birds?
About the in good company.
Yes, in good company about the birds.
So before the pandemic, I had a conversation with a friend that he and I were just kind of observing how we were, as a society, we were villainizing people who smoke, people who drink, people who don't smoke, people who don't drink. We're like just, I don't know, bored out of our wits about everything. So we were overly critical about people's behaviors, people, and what they did or didn't do, and very, very judgmental. So that conversation went on the shelf, and then the pandemic hit, and it came back.
Wow.
And it was like maybe in one of my moods when I so desperately wished for the times when we could just meet without a mask and have a drink and have a smoke, go on vacation, be in a tropical place, and be in nature without a concern. So that's what it is. It's just a wish. The whole painting is a wish to be in good company, whether it's with nature or with each other or with, something like a cigarette and a glass of wine and a good friend, just that. That's all it is.
That's very illustrative. I love the idea. And how about the last one, the color palette that unites us no matter what?
So that, again, it's about this, it's a tangent of that painting of the one we just spoke about.
Yes.
And you see, but it's more intimate in nature in that it's about a couple. They're polar opposites. One is a dreamer. He is a dreamer. He's very patient. She's very analytical, has to research everything, uptight. So her background is geometrical. The beach, the sunset, everything's geometrical. And his background is floral, is dreamy, is fluid, is warm. He's just a romantic. But if you look at the colors that surround them, it's a palette. So they're very, very united. So it's just a little message, we can be different in so many ways, but we have so much that unites us and surrounds us.
Especially the floor.
Yeah, where we stand, right? Where we stand, right? Yeah. Right. So that's it. That's basically it. They're just messages, visual stories that I tell with my painting.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And these are acrylic or acrylic on paper. Okay.
On paper or canvas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rosario. Guys, do you have anything you'd like to comment or ask Rosario? You can unmute yourself and ask. We still have about 14 people on the call, which is wonderful.
So I hope I was brief, but thank you again. And it's a real honor to be in company of such great talent.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here. You definitely added to our mix of talent. And I'm sure all of the artists will agree with me, even though they're being quite quiet, that you really, really, these pieces are just wonderful. Very well done. The palette is just varied and bright, and it makes sense. Look at her dress, the pattern that you put on there, shoes, your attention to detail. Even the one who's holding the wine glass, he's got a bracelet on. I mean, little things that you add to this, it gives people something to look at, something to view, not just slapdash,
Yeah.
So great work. Okay, last call for artists who are here and did not get a chance to say anything for whatever reason. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can all see each other. And I'm going to unmute everybody so we can have, let's see if I can find the, here it is. I'm going to stop sharing. So now we can see everyone. Can everybody see each other?
Yeah.
Okay, great, great. All right. And you can all unmute yourselves now.
I have to leave now.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I think we had a great time. Thank you, everyone, for attending. This was our grand finale. I think we did great, don't you think?
I think the Zoom worked out much better than the actual meeting.
Oh.
I have to agree. This is the first time I've ever been able to Zoom in on an art exhibit. I really enjoyed it.
I've never
There were some phenomenal artists out there. It was a pleasure to meet you and hear you talk about your pieces. And John, I have to agree with you. I like this better than having 1,000 people all around me while I'm trying to enjoy the art.
There are some advantages.
Yeah, we actually get to meet the artist. We actually get to hear the artist. We actually get to see the pieces.
Exactly.
The actual process.
Yeah.
And you get your little your time of fame. So
yes, you do. Carolyn, I want to say you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much. And we're going to keep it going. Even though this is our grand finale for Pandemic, the Light Therein, there's more coming. So I will keep in touch with all of you. And please, if you haven't joined our social media channels, I'm trying to get our numbers up. So if you haven't joined yet, join. And I will be contacting you guys with our next artist call, which should be out in about 2 or 3 weeks. Okay. So I'll give you a sneak preview. It'll be about what's happening to the world because of the human impact. So it's a little different, but it's still the same because I'm very interested, as some of you are, on what we are doing to planet Earth as humans, because we are the gatekeepers of this planet, but we're sort of not doing such a good job. At least some of us aren't. So as artists, I think from your point of view, right, there's going to be sections for photography, for fabric art, also for painting, of course, sculpture.
How about some buttons?
I don't know about buttons. Maybe we'll squeeze that in, all right?
Yeah, you can have.
It was great, Carolyn. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thanks so much, everyone, and Caroline.
All right, guys, so we're going to wrap up, and thank you for hanging out past our 8:30, but I wanted to give everybody a chance to participate.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.